was always and many of my students may testify to that. My social life was basically zero because I hardly attend lectures. I only had time for myself. The major thing is what's in front of me. I have to finish this thing. And philosophers say that when you keep your eyes on problems and challenges, you take your eyes to where you go. So my eyes were focusing on God and achieving the goal. So my social life was like zero. It was at the 2 minutes of the people that when the president was ready moved the for the defense that I got to really focus my eyes down. That this life, what do I want to achieve? I want to be able to my social life. So even now, I have a gift. It's not useful to you. This is the property of society. You only have it. And that's what people should realize. The PhD does not actually belong to you. It belongs to the community where you belong. And the moment your PhD is not useful to your immediate community and the global community, it's not a PhD. Within a short time, I had my defense last year. I know how many humans I've had. I want to come and do this once. I want to come and do this. Not because it doesn't have time to live, but because they actually needed somebody with a PhD to do it. So too much is actually waiting that for everybody to attend it. Once you attend it and attend it, they will give you the right information. So the PhD belongs to society. And just what is possible. I mean, talking about student, it was basically almost zero. Now we're coming back. Well, I'm saying this is not different. Because when you look back, even when I got students, when you look back to your parents, my name is Dr. Kamaru Aremu Salaudeen, the head of department, Mass Communication, Fountain University, Osogbo. Well, talking about my educational background at this point, I can say it's a journey that runs from childhood till mid-adulthood, so to say. Okay, you want to know my primary education, all of that, fine. I attended Salaudeen Primary School, Ayetoro in Ogun State. After that, I moved to Ajoda High School for secondary education, the same Ayetoro in Ogun State. After that, I moved to Ibadan to study public administration in the Polytechnic of Ibadan in Oyo State. Thereafter, I studied communication and language arts, first degree, second degree in the University of Ibadan. Then I also moved to study mass communication at master's level at Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agoiwe, meaning that I have 2 masters, both focusing on strategic communication and aspect of public relations and advertising. And then I came back to the University of Ibadan, the premier university, to enroll for a PhD in applied and strategic communication with focus on health communication. When we talk about strategic communication, generally it is something that can be applied to both commercial and non-commercial organization. So because of that, my PhD is focusing on health communication, which is an aspect of social marketing. So, and the PhD was defended the last day of 2021. Well, you know, when you start a career, usually at the beginning you don't even know what you want to do, but at the point God will just show you the light that this is the direction you should be following. And I think I came to realize that in my first degree, I know that whenever, yes, I have potentials for all aspects of mass communication, talk about journalism, talk about broadcasting, talk about public relations and advertising. And during the first degree, I was hovering between all, and I think I delved more into broadcasting and PR and advertising during my first degree. But when I came back for masters, I think I had enough academic maturity. I've been exposed to the outer world, and by then I already know what I'm looking for in life and where my skill is strengthened, so to say. So I chose to study strategic communication at higher degree level, and the passion is just about that. I see that that area of communication is versatile and something that can be applied to all aspects of life. And for me, I see myself as a man of all walks of life. Okay, so because of that, I feel I should not restrict myself to something that probably will only be useful for one thing. And I see that I want to be vanguard of good innovation. So, and one thing that can give you the strength to be an advocate of good ideas, good development, good movement, good initiatives and innovation in the society is to be a specialist in the area of strategic communication, which is part of public relations and advertising. So that is one of the reasons. Yeah, my PhD experience, I will not say it is essentially different from the experience of many people, though. Like I was discussing with a friend this morning, and we were looking at the experience of the defense, and the conclusion it was that no two PhD defenses will be essentially the same. However, PhD experience is, there are some things that are fundamental and common to all PhDs, and those things around my PhD experience. When you talk about rigor, PhD is basically academic and research oriented. So, and when you talk about research, especially academic research, it has to be rigorous. There should be rigor in it. And thank God, the department where I had my PhD in UI Communication and Language Arts, and the university itself, the premier university, the research rigor in the postgraduate college of University of Ibadan is, I want to tell you that it is A class, because even people come from other countries, from other African countries, even from outside Africa, sponsors PhD in UI. So if you take a PhD in UI, be sure it is going to be rigorous. And rigor in research does not mean that you'll be digging the ground or you'll be carrying rocks, but it has to be done in a methodological procedure, such that it is not haphazard. Following those procedures is what will make it rigorous, because you cannot do it your own way. It has a laid down procedure that you have to follow. So that is one of it. And I want to say again that the experience is enriching. I'm not the same person that enrolled for PhD after my PhD, and that I give that to my department, firstly to University of Ibadan, to my department, and essentially to my supervisor, Dr. Olayinka Ibukhari. She did a good work, because a PhD is essentially about the strength of the supervisor themselves on research. So the experience is really enriching. It has made me a new person. When I stand in front of the class to talk now, or I stand in front of any audience to talk, I will speak with more confidence. Different from then, when I was coming in for PhD, that time, there are a lot of things that you are not yet sure of. But now, some of my knowledge has been confirmed, my experiences have been confirmed, my ideas have been confirmed by the authority of the university to say, you now have a PhD. So, it is enriching, really. It is rigorous. And I want to tell you, it is something that I want to continue living with the rest part of my life. For me, I will say it is in between the word I used before, rigor and interest. It was very interesting. Though when I was doing it, at some point you get fed up that can I continue this thing? But the determination that I must was there. But when I now look back to the experience, I find it interesting, sincerely, and that is what I've been telling people. When people ask me about my defense, I said it was tough but interesting. So that is the summary. Asking that question is like asking me how I managed to be like 4 or 5 people at the same time. And as a human being, whether you are in a leadership position or you are not in a leadership position, you must train yourself to be a leader. And one of the role or the qualities of a leader is to be able to play dual roles. To be able to play dual roles. The Prophet of Al-Islam, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Kullukum ra'in wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyati." All of you are leaders in your own capacity, and you'll be questions on how you have led your group. So, if you have leadership quality before you begin to have certain challenges, it will help you. Okay, being a lecturer, being the head of department, being a father, being a husband, and being a PhD candidate, I will tell you, it was not actually an easy task. But because of the kind of training that we have received and the determination that we must play our roles properly in life, I will also tell you that it was a training for me. Okay, to be able to handle all those things together, it was challenging. Sincerely yours, it was challenging, but at the same time, those things have trained me better for better roles in the future. Today, if I become the president of Nigeria, I know how to manage people more and better. Today, if I become a governor of any state, I know how to manage people and resources better because of that little experience. Today, if I am appointed as a minister or commissioner with a portfolio, the experience I've gathered within that period of running a PhD program, running a family, and being the head of department, also being a lecturer, those experiences put together have trained me to be a quality human being. And I will say again that I have more confidence in myself than it used to be. Not because I now have PhD, but because, the determination, the discipline, the focus has led to a positive outcome. That shows that one is doing at least what is right to some extent. The major challenge is managing my time. The major challenge is managing my time because there was so much to do within the usually available time. I usually tell people, see, children, while you are training them, let them have enough rest, because a time will come in life that they will never have time to rest. During my PhD, I can remember that there were occasions that I did not sleep for 24 hours because I had to meet deadlines, work deadline and study deadline. There were occasions that 24 hours I didn't sleep. That may not run for days consecutively, but if I sit down, I can begin to pick some days that I worked around the clock and there was no sleep. So the major challenge is actually managing time properly, and it has paid off because time is the most valuable resources in life. If you can manage your time very well, you have everything in the world, and your time can become money and value for you. My social life was almost zero, and many of my students may testify to that. My social life was basically zero because I hardly attend occasions. I hardly had time for myself. The major thing is what is in front of me. I have to finish this in record time. And philosophers say that when you keep your eyes on problems and challenges, you take your eyes away from your goal. So my eyes were focusing on the ball and achieving the goal. So my social life was like zero. It was at the twilight of the PhD program that when the pressure was already lifted, even before the defense, that I began to refocus my lifestyle. That in this life, whatever you want to achieve, you are not the only person in life. You have to socialize. You have to relate with people. So, and even after all, when you have the PhD is not useful to you. It is useful. It is a property of the society. You only have it, and that is what people should realize. The PhD does not actually belong to you. It belongs to the community where you belong. And the moment your PhD is not useful to your immediate community and the global community, it is not a PhD. Within the short time I had my defense last year, I know how many invites I've had. I want you to come and do this for us. I want you to come and do this. Not because they didn't see that value in me before, but because they actually needed somebody with a PhD to do it. You get it now? So the world is actually waiting for everybody to attain a goal. Once you can target the goal and attain it, they will give you the right recognition. Okay, so the PhD belongs to the society, and I'm just responsible for carrying it. Talking about my social life during my PhD, it was basically almost zero. Now we are coming back to the normal life. Well, I will say Allah is responsible for it, because you know, when you look back, even undergraduate students, when you look back to your primary school, some people with whom you attended primary school could not proceed to secondary school. Some people with whom you attended secondary school could not proceed to higher institution. So it's not by your might. I know it is not by my might that I could finish the PhD. Allah is responsible for my success before and today. However, you know, the prophet says that whoever cannot appreciate mankind will not only also be able to appreciate God. Some people played vital role in my life, and I cannot forget them. And you know, I'm a man of many mentors, so I will try to do away with mentioning names so that I will not offend anybody. But I will not leave out my parents. I give it to them. They are good parents. They are good parents. Alhaji Salaudeen and Mrs. Silifatu Salaudeen. The two of them are good parents. My mother gave us the right home training. And I want to tell you, whatever I achieve today, the basis of the achievement is that home training. Because if I didn't have the home training and discipline from home, I could have derailed to something else. I could have lost focus on my goal. But she gave us the training right from childhood that you have to be focusful. Anything you want, when there is something in front of you, you have to achieve it. To the extent of eating, we will have food ready. My mother will say, until you finish this work, you will not take this food. It is not punishment. We saw it as punishment, but it was when I grew up that I discovered that when I was having I just told you now that there were days I didn't sleep for 24 hours. It was part of the training. I will have food. One of the things that suffered during the time is my diet. When I have target that I've set for myself, if I've not met it, I may not be able to. I will not have appetite to eat, and that has been implanted in me right from childhood. The training my mother gave to me is that food is not the most important thing in life. So food is secondary. So focus on your goal and eat at an appropriate time. But when you keep on eating, you will just be sleeping, and at the end of the day, you will not be able to achieve your goal. So my father, my mother, I thank them very well for the kind of home training they gave me, and all my teachers right from childhood till now, they have done one thing or the other in my life, and I can remember all of them for good. That is why I don't want to begin to mention names, because those names are too many, and I will do injustice when I mention names. I've passed through so many people in my life, and I can tell you, everybody I pass through, I pick something away from them. And I usually tell people, when you attend a training, for the whole of the training, if the training is 2 or 4 hours, it may be only one sentence that you take away from it, and that sentence will be with you all through your life, and that sentence can fetch you so many values. So I've passed through so many people in my life, and all of them have touched on my life one way or the other. One of the people who mentored me, who is no more now, is Professor Akim Mobolaji. He used to be in Fountain. He died 2015. When I was still struggling with my academics during my master's year, Professor Mobolaji will say that, Salaudeen, don't worry, you will get there. You will get there. When I was looking for a job, he told me confidently one day, he said, you will get a job. And it was like somebody was making a very strong prophecy into my life, and my tension came down with that single statement. He said, you will get a job. And may I tell you that it was not long before that, after that time, that I got a job. So people like that, I can mention him because he's no more living now. One of them is a very good friend, Qasim Alamol Yakin, is also late now. We met sometimes in the 90s, and our friendship turned my life around. So because of that, is somebody that I will always also remember in my life. If I write my biography today, my autobiography today, his name will be mentioned. Others, I don't want to mention them because there are so many people that are still living. Then the first child of my mother, Abdul Hakim Salaudeen, he sacrificed a lot for me when I was in the university. I remember one day in the university, it was a weekend before exam, and I stayed back for the examination. It was on Saturday or Sunday, and there was nothing again for me in the hostel to eat. And I felt that, what will I do? I told my friend, living together in the same hostel, look, my brother is living in Ibadan here. Do you mind? We go there and we come back. I said, no problem. So we just went to his house. We ate Saturday, we ate Sunday, and he packed a lot of food stuff for us, and we taught to school on Sunday. So that is just the smallest part of the sacrifices he did. And his wife, whenever I enter their house, the wife will not complain. I will go to the wardrobe, I will go to the kitchen, I will pick anything I want, I will carry everything to the school. So these are some of the people that I can mention. Others, I want to keep them confidential because I will not be able to mention them, and I pray God reward them abundantly. You see, as a researcher, one of the things you should do is looking at, I said the other time that your PhD, you only hold it, but it belongs to the community. And that, I will use my PhD as an example of the benefit of my research agenda to the community. My PhD came out of what my experience with the community. At a time in the past, before I did my PhD, I discovered that there were so many instances of teenage and adolescent pregnancies, especially in Ibadan. And I saw many secondary school students dropping out, JSS1, JSS2, because of cases of pregnancy. And it was a worry for me for so long. Then in 2013, Professor Ademola Ajuwon had inaugural lecture in UI, and I went there to attend. And his inaugural lecture was on adolescent sexual and reproductive health. And he said so many things. From there, I got insight into that issue. So I decided that I was going to do something on this to help the society on this particular problem. So I assessed the communication strategies that were used to educate secondary school adolescents in Ibadan on sexual and reproductive health, talking about pregnancy, talking about sexually transmitted infections and diseases. So, and I saw so much. I saw so much that there were so many problems, and there were so many reasons these children are prone to this problem. Part of it was that the stakeholders, so to say, have left their duties undone, starting from the home. Okay, starting from the home, parents no longer train their children in the right way. So the children are just managing their lives, and because of that, they can make so many mistakes. So my PhD actually is to look at the communication strategies that have been used in the past to encourage adolescents to live healthy sexual life. And I am sure even after the PhD, I have so many researches that are ongoing in the area of health communication to look at how to communicate health issues to people in the society, to call the attention of the policy makers to the areas where we need to address to make people live a healthy life. There is an ongoing research now on COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy. We still have a lot of skepticism on COVID-19 vaccine, and we are carrying out a study on it in this environment to see what are the factors responsible for it and how many people still have that kind of state of mind. So basically, I'm more focused on societal issues, communicating good behavior, communicating good health behavior, advocating for the right attitude, the national values and all of that. These are my research focus. Also, there is an ongoing research in the area of international communication that we want to look at how Nigeria and Nigerians are being perceived in the in foreign countries by foreign nationals and their government. So these are some of the things that I'm focusing on, using communication to address societal issues, national issues, and a lot of policy agendas. Well, my advice for them is number one, set love to go going first. After my first degree, I told myself, if I do masters, I will not wait a year to start my PhD, because I'm doing my masters because of PhD. If it was possible to do PhD without masters, I wouldn't have gone for masters. I would have gone for PhD directly. But because it's not possible to do PhD without masters, I have to do masters, because my goal is to have a PhD in my career, because I know that PhD is an instrument to be able to play the kind of role I want to play in my immediate community and also in the global community. So you have to set a goal for yourself. Okay? And no goal is too much. Yes, there is something we call tall goal. That is when you set unrealistic goal. Okay? But you need to set a goal that is challenging enough. A goal that will challenge you, that will take you away from your comfort zone. If you set a goal and you are not challenged by that goal, you just ask me now, what were the challenges? And I told you my greatest challenge was time. Managing time with every other thing. Many people dropped out of programs because they could not cope. Not because they don't have money, but because they could not manage their time to end the program. So set a goal that will challenge you, that will put you on your toes. That is one. Number two is that be determined in achieving your goals. Be determined. Once you set the goal, don't lose hope. Always tell yourself that I will achieve this goal because I can achieve it. There will be so many challenges. The day you will be hungry, the day you will have pocket money, so many challenges. The day you will hear discouraging comments from people. Okay, people will say, and he said he's doing PhD. When some things happen, okay, when you listen to those kind of comments, there are some people we call idea killers. Idea killers are people that will always make negative comments about you and what you are doing. Those people, when you know them, please gradually take yourself away from them if you know you are doing the right thing, because if you are not careful, they are the one that will kill your determination. They will kill your confidence in yourself, and the day you lose confidence in yourself, that is the day your goal becomes unattainable. So set a challenging goal, be determined to achieve the goal, be determined, and be disciplined. Be disciplined. Discipline is a comprehensive word in all sense of it, because there is what we call life distractors. Life distractors, things that will not fetch you anything, but they will consume your resources. You can think about many of them now. They don't give you any value, but they will consume your resources, money, time, intellectual energy. Do away from them. Life distractors. There are so many of them. So if you can do all this, I'm sure you will get to where you are going.
So, Salaudeen, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I want to see myself as a professor. That's my goal.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'm a professor of international reputation. Welcome.